As a young citizen of India, armed with technology, knowledge, and love for my nation, with a vision of transforming India into a developed nation, I'm joining Shobhit University. What about you?
Very good morning to all the participants from Shobhit Institute of Engineering and Technology, Meerut, deemed to be university, and its Centers of Excellence, Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Applications, and Center for Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Application, in association with the African Asian Rural Development Organization, ARDO New Delhi, organized this weekly webinar series, international webinar series on open source digital technologies for self-reliant India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. Today is the 71st edition of the webinar series. 16th April 2022. This webinar is being held on Saturday from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Indian Standard Time. The program schedule is that first I will take about 15 to 20 minutes to talk about the webinar series and what we achieved so far, and also introduce the guest speaker to the audience. Then I will request and invite the guest speaker to address the audience. And if there are any queries, the viewers may kindly put the queries in their respective chat box, facebook.com or youtube.com or linkedin.com. Those questions will be displayed on the screen. Then I will request the guest to speak up, to respond if it is required. So with this, let me welcome our honorable guest speaker on behalf of the Honorable Chancellor, His Excellency the Secretary General, ARDO, Honorable Vice Chancellor, the faculty members of the university, and on my behalf, and as Professor Emeritus and Chairman of Centers of Excellence, Center for Agricultural Informatics and E-Governance Research Studies, Center for Agribusiness and Disaster Management Studies, and Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Application, Center for Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Application, and Center for Health Informatics and Computing. Welcome our guest speaker, Sri Sanjeev Rohilla, CEO, NAP Foundation, a subsidiary of National Bank for Agriculture Rural Development, NABARD, Mumbai.
Thank you, sir.
I wish to inform the participants and the guest speaker that under this international webinar series, these two centers of excellence, Center for Informatics Development Solutions and Applications and Center for Industry 4.0 Technology Studies and Application, have organized 70 lectures on various topics of relevance. And in the another webinar series, that is National Webinar Series on doubling farmers' income by 2022, which is now, being held on every Thursday at 11 a.m. We have completed 73rd edition by this week. Topics of relevance, and this facilitates agri startups, entrepreneurs, and rural innovators to get into the problems which are existing at the grassroots level. And under this webinar series, 70 lectures have been conducted by experts from both India and abroad. Open technologies to provision simple and economical IT infrastructure. A roadmap for students using free and open source software and reaching goals of Atmanirbhar. Open source software in industrial IoT for SMEs, and free and open source software adoption / business models. Open data platform for smart digital government. Technology imperative, make in India for self-reliance. Edge artificial intelligence. Data governance for self-reliant India, and Digital India, transforming governance and society. India's email service citizen at indiamail.com in 22 constitutionally recognized languages. Ecosystem architecture for digital transformation. Education system, cyber critical infrastructure. Seizing opportunities in open innovation and value creation network in the digital world for self-reliant economy. This talk was given by Dr. Jabamale Vinancharachi, Principal Advisor to the former principal advisor to the Director General UNIDO, Vienna. Ensuring food safety and compliance through technology. Digital India, urgent need for semiconductor manufacturing in India. Technology investment in agriculture value chain, role of foreign direct investment by Dr. Dhanendra Kumar IAS retired, former Executive Director World Bank and former Chairman Competition Commission of India. Entrepreneurship and skill development, AI design pathways. Rise of platform economy, revisiting value chain governance. Era of automation, industrial robotics, and Industry 4.0, Indo-German perspective of technology transfer, skill gap analysis and opportunities. Role of artificial intelligence in healthcare. Current developments in diagnosis and vaccine research. Digital agri-tech and agri-startup perspective. Health informatics network value chain, e-health system and beyond. Leveraging emerging technology for ensuring transparent and traceable agri and food supply chains. Leveraging emerging technology for ensuring transparent and traceable agri and food supply chains. Unleash the power of citizen development for enterprise software development. E-governance models towards sustained quality service to citizen backed by technology. Indian MSMEs to adopt Industry 4.0 technology capabilities, urgent need for mentorship and accelerator program. Building public digital platform for micro services and APIs. Building public digital platform using microservices and APIs. Health informatics network value chain, early childhood development and learning. Health informatics network value chain, clinical AI, interface between machine learning and health informatics. Health informatics network value chain, importance of social medicine and community health in the times of health emergency. Gravity filter, a simple low-cost solution to the drinking water treatment in rural India. Open source GovTech startup empowering growth with automation, digital transformation in small enterprises and small businesses of India, challenges and opportunities. National Digital Twin Program, need for a robust geospatial infrastructure. Industry 4.0 in MSME, benefits of indigenously developed Collabcat software from National Informatics Center. Mass serialization and anti-counterfeiting solutions to fight illicit trade. Cybersecurity, risk, challenges, and solutions, intelligence approach to reduce cyber risk. New Internet IPv6 root server toward Atmanirbhar Connected Bharat. Indian startups, reflections, and possible policy interventions needed for scaling up to Gram Panchayat. Blockchain and crypto for digital assets platform, pathways for global trade. Robot as a service, leverage technology to solve enterprise challenges. Space startups connecting to international markets with emerging business models, enabling technology for future vision. Vivekananda Secondary Education and Skills Development Mega Project, its potential impact on rural entrepreneurship and the rural economy in India. Sports Grill, a digital sports media platform, and prospects of Indian sports industry stability model at a global level. Pharma 4.0, Industry 4.0 applications to pharmaceutical engineering, the manufacturing path to a digital transformation. Pharma 4.0, Industry 4.0 application to pharmaceutical manufacturing, path to a digital transformation. Accelerate and scale non-linear growth through partner ecosystem. Technological renaissance and human capital, a perspective. Health informatics network value chain, medical outreach challenges and potential. Beyond COVID-19, revitalizing micro and small enterprises. Project management essential, launchpad for future CEOs and startup founders beyond. Society 5.0, a new society beyond Industry 4.0 and post-COVID-19. Smart village, public community, in the African ICT IoT lesson, digital economy, ways and means to protect and empower for self-reliance. Pragmatic base for Atmanirbhar Bharat, and democratization of essential services by using sustainable energy as a catalyst. transforming India through relevant education and vocational training, online learning during pandemic and its future, smart microeconomic zones, pathways for self-reliance at village level, Atmanirbhar village, crime prediction support systems, knowledge management for development partnership to achieve sustainable development goals of UN and implementing Agenda 2030, aspirational district program in left wing extremism affected district, a successful model of data driven governance, millet value chain from IoT to blockchain, a traceability roadmap, digital agriculture supply chain, and a trading hub, a geo-economic perspective, market-driven agriculture, need for development of crop-specific strategies at block level, an open agri network to unlock the $1 trillion plus potential of Indian agriculture with the smallholder farmer, developing rural entrepreneurship to ensure doubling of farmers' income. And today is the 71st edition of this very important webinar series. We will have the talk by our guest speaker, Shri Sanjeev Rohilla, CEO NAB Foundation, Mumbai, on very important topic, leveraging the power of convergence through connecting the dots, agri startups, agripreneurs, and rural innovators. They are all working in different silos, and the efforts of NAB Foundation is very important, need of the hour, connecting the dots, and you achieve the power of convergence. And keywords are leverage, power of convergence, connecting the dots, agri startups, agripreneurs, and innovators. Atmanirbhar Bharat is the mission of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi of making India a self-reliant nation, rested on 5 I's: intent, inclusion, investment, infrastructure, and innovation, based on 5 pillars: quantum jump economy, infrastructure, one that represents modern India, in a system 21st century technology driven, vibrant demography, and the demand whereby the strength of our demand and supply chain should be utilized to full capacity, and vocal for local for make it global. Agriculture sector is the foundation of our Indian economy. India lives in villages. Acharya Vinoba Bhave said that India is largely an agrarian economy, agrarian agricultural country, and a country of villages, more than 6.25 lakhs villages. And it is the foundation of Indian economy. It employs more than 50% of the India's workforce and contributes almost 18 to 19% of its gross domestic value. And is the agriculture is the main source of food, employment, and income for 70 to 80% of the people suffering from hunger in developing countries. India's labor-intensive and subsistence-based agriculture sector is particularly vulnerable to the climate change. Climate change. Farmers of India are facing multidimensional problems: price fluctuation, debt, and lack of infrastructure, and weather. Indian farming community comprises of about 14.5 crores operational holders, out of which 85% of the farmers having small and marginal size operational holdings. Hence, farmer needs timely, location specific, and personalized information for effective control on their production, risk, and then market their produce to identified market opportunities. Honorable Prime Minister, in his address on 15th August 2021, he said, I quote, in the coming years, we will have to increase the collective powers of small farmers of the country. We have to give them new facilities, and they must become country's pride. Market-driven agriculture is the need of the development of crop-specific strategies at the block level, and agriculture and related sectors such as forestry and fisheries account for 19.9% of country's GDP. And consequently, the agriculture sector plays an important role in Indian economics, politics, and society. Reforms towards digitalization of agriculture system. I would like to quote from the recommendations from the Doubling Farmers Income by 2022 report submitted in September 2018 to the government. I was associated with this Doubling Farmers Income by 2022 committee during formulation stage in volume 12B and volume 11 as its group leader. Volume 12B talks about digital technology in agriculture. It has recommended 7 mission board programs for a total digitalization of Indian agriculture. Based on our various efforts, which started in 1987 in computerizing 512 districts, I was the project director at that time, District Information System of NIC District. And number one, digitalized agriculture, digital technology, and innovation in agriculture, synergization of Digital India, Make in India, Skill India, Stand Up India programs for transformational reforms in agriculture sector through smart irrigated farming, smart rainfed farming, and smart tribal farming, digitalized agromet advisories and agriculture risk management solutions, digitalized agriculture resources information system and micro level planning for achieving smart village and smart farming, digitalized value chain for about 400 agriculture commodities, digitalized access to inputs, technology, knowledge, skill, agricultural finance, credit, marketing, and agribusiness management to farmers, digitalized integrated land and water management systems per drop more crop, and digitalized farm health management for reduction of farmers' loss, integrated farm health management, farmer health, plant health, animal health, soil health, water health, fish health, and environmental health, and using GIS technology and a location specific. It's very important. This itself is a $1 trillion data economy, and this is what I'm driving from this university. And digital world is the rise of platform economy. Digital ecosystems are essential for digital transformation in the digital world. Frontier technologies in the digital ecosystem in the planet are cloud computing, mobile phones, IoT platforms, social media, GPS, advanced algorithms, authentications and intrusion detection, 3D printing, smart sensors, augmented reality, and analysis of big data, and advanced algorithms and user data collection. And 10 emerging technologies in during 2020-21 are AI, 5G, IoT, serverless computing, biometrics, automate, virtual reality, augmented reality, blockchain, robotics, natural language processing, and quantum computing. Agriculture is now becoming a use case for every institutions and technology companies. It means that the time has come to may have green revolution, GRIN revolution. G denotes genomics, R denotes robotics, I denotes informatics, and N denotes nanotechnology. We have to achieve agriculture 4.0. Industry 4.0 has come from Germany, and society 5.0 technology has come from Japan. India has to provide agriculture 4.0 to the whole world. And India has got Amrit Kal led up to at 100 strategic plan to be achieved through 4 priorities: PM Kadi Shakti, inclusive development, productivity enhancement in investment, sunrise opportunities, energy transition, climate action, and financing investment. We have sustainable development goals of UN and Agenda 2030, 17 sustainable development goals, and 169 targets to be achieved. And in June 1992, there was an Earth Summit, and which gave a very important recommendation. In Chapter 14, Agenda 21 is on sustainable agriculture rural development. I was quite impressed by that when I was looking after the role of National Informatics Center in the agriculture sector. Launched a very big conference at Vigyan Bhavan on the conference, National Conference on Informatics for Sustainable Agriculture Development, which gave the IT blueprint, 15 informatics network way back in 1995. And that's how my journey started from 1987 on District Information System Program as its project director, 28 sectoral database development program, and in 95, 15 informatics development network as an IT blueprint for agriculture, AgmarkNet, AgriSnet, FishNet, FertNet, and Plant Protection Informatics Network, and so on and so forth. And AgmarkNet has gotten the logo, that is that connecting the farmers to the global world. It's very important. And today's topic is leveraging the power of convergence through connecting the dots, agri startups, agripreneurs, and rural innovators. Connecting the dots. Let me introduce to the audience that how important this topic is, that and that it is connecting the dots. I would like to quote the creator of Apple II, Macintosh, Mr. Steve Jobs, what he said in his book, Connecting the Dots. You cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust the dots will somehow connect in your future. You never let me down. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. This approach has never let me down, and it has made all the difference in my life. Steve Jobs. You have to, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. Most organizations have a treasure trove of data, from a customer profiles, survey results, and call center transcripts to product adoption, and how long website visitors spend on each page. But what good is all this information if you are unable to glean any insights? The term data rich but insight poor. Data rich but insight poor. This is where our today Mr. Sanjeev Rohilla is going to tell us that how to leverage the power of convergence through connecting the dots. Power of convergence. Linking business strategies and technology decision to create sustainable success. This is by Faisal Hoque, founder and CEO of BTM Corporation in Stamford, Connecticut. And he says that from technology giants to major airlines to government agencies, the landscape is littered with the shells of once promising enterprises that failed to do one thing: converge their impressive technology initiatives with their business strategies. They're all pull apart. They are poles apart. Business strategies and technology initiatives. The power of convergence makes the case and lays the groundwork for new understanding of the role of technology in businesses. On April 22, Mr. Anil Kumar, founder and group CEO Sam Unnati, he made a very important talk in this webinar series, an open agri network to unlock $1 trillion plus potential of Indian agriculture with smallholder farmers. By 2027, they have a plan. They wanted to, they has announced to plan it to impact 1 in every 4 farm family, and through its network, farm household, 1 in every 4 farm household through its network. And they are also ready to give weather station to farmer produce organization, a private initiative, and this is in the country's very biggest agro entrepreneur, agri-tech, largest agri-tech enterprises. They have connected more than 1,500 plus farmer collectives. Have a member. These collectives have got members more than 6 million farmers. Very important. And India's agriculture technology sector has the potential to grow $24.1 billion in the next 5 years, which is indicative of potential that ecosystem is on the cusp of unleashing technology. $24.1 billion. And in this international webinar series, we have, that about 11 topics on the relevance, and then national webinar series on doubling farmers' income by 2022, 73 topics on the relevance in agricultural, related, areas, and each one can lead to a PhD. And the web talk are available in the website of Soviet Institute of Engineering and Technology. And for the benefits, I would like to quickly tell that digital agri-tech and industry perspective, dairy informatics network value chain, spices informatics network value chain, generating sustainable on-farm income through fintech intervention, tech enabling India's tech-starved farmers for manifold increase in productivity and income, open insurance ecosystem, it's not available in this country, and agri-tech new horizon in Indian agriculture, democratizing the future of farming, and farmer collective with value addition, powerful business model, and lessons from Operation Flood for transforming agriculture and food system. Why can't we have an Operation Flood, the scheme which Dr. Kurian brought it for many of the perishable commodities in the agriculture and horticulture, impacting lives through livelihood, promotions and value chain development, agriculture value chain challenges and opportunities, and dairy husbandry for food security and national prosperity, mushroom cultivation, way towards self-reliance from agriculture waste, and providing nutritional food security to the nation. And very important thing is that digital agriculture supply chain and trading hub, geo-specific, perspective, geo-economic perspective. And this is an important time that our agriculture export management has to be globalized with, has to be integrated with the global value chain at the earliest. And connecting dots, agri startups and agripreneurs and rural innovators. India needs rural innovations for boosting economy. And agripreneurs is defined as an entrepreneur whose main business is agriculture or agriculture related, agriculture plus entrepreneur. And in agriculture startup space, starting with the 43 startups in 2013, now it is more than 1,000 startups in 2020, driven by rising in rural internet penetration, rise in post-harvest supply chain losses, and a growing number of investors' interest in the sector. Very important, area and talk which we'll have it today. And we have National Innovation Foundation, which have a very good database on rural innovations, which is happening at the grassroots level. And from the synopsis of the guest speaker, I would like to tell from the website which is available, NABARD works with more than 6,000 NGO partners across the country through its regional offices and head offices. And NAB Foundation is envisaged to emerge as a strong and vibrant institution with a strong network of partners. It imagines a future in which other financial institutions, government agencies, and corporates are its core partners. It wants to take up a host of unique development projects in rural India, which other agencies are excited to partner. And this direction, they would like to join with various educational institutions, universities, deemed universities, and so on and so forth, to bring in, to leverage the power of convergence through connecting the dots, that is, that agri startups, agripreneurs, and rural innovators. And NAB Kisan is also, is in the process of, establishing, electronic FPO's resource center, and it is it's one of the objective is digitization of farmer produce organization and their value chain. And with this background, let us turn to the address by our guest speaker, Sanjeev Rohilla, CEO, NAP Foundation, on the topic leveraging the power of convergence through connecting the dots, agri startups, agripreneurs, and rural innovators. This topic will motivate and galvanize the participants watching our telecast through facebook.com/Shobhit University India or youtube.com/Shobhit University in or linkedin.com/company/Shobhit University for motivating them to get inspired to work through startups at Gram Panchayat level and facilitating the development of rural entrepreneurship through one agri-tech startups in every Gram Panchayat, leading to 2.25 lakh agri-tech startup. And this is how the Soviet Institute of Engineering Technology, through its Center of Excellence, is propagating the need for 2.25 lakh agri-tech startups in Gram Panchayat level to help 14.5 crore operational holders. So let me introduce our guest speaker to the audience, Mr. Manish. Can you put the profile? Sanjeev Rohilla, as the General Manager of National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD, heads NABARD's youngest subsidiary, NAB Foundation. NAB Foundation is a not-for-profit, wholly owned subsidiary and an in-house extension of NABARD, which will take up scalable development projects of interest to NABARD and rural India. Sanjeev Rohilla joined NABARD in 1992 and after doing his post-graduation in economics from Punjab University, Chandigarh. He has handled key assignments in multiple departments over the last 2 decades in Jammu and Kashmir, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Meghalaya. He has been part of multiple teams with the NABARD covering fundraising, human resources, credit operations, financial inclusion technology, credit planning, and corporate communication. He was a key member of the team which launched the first ever Aadhaar enabled Kisan credit cards to cooperative banks and regional rural banks. Microfinance, credit planning, designing of innovative convergence model, and organizational communication continue to be his area of deep interest. In his current role as the CEO of NAB Foundation, Sanjeev Rohilla has designed and launched multiple programs, most of the notable of them being My Pad, My Right, the largest livelihoods program in the menstrual hygiene domain ever undertaken by any one organization. With this, let me welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Rohilla, Sanjeev Rohilla, CEO NAB Foundation, to the international webinar series on open source digital technology towards self-reliant India to talk on leveraging the power of convergence through connecting the dots, agri startup, agripreneurs, and rural innovators. We welcome you, Mr. Rohilla, to your talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Oh, great. Because my voice is echoing back. I think it's okay now. Is it okay? Okay, great. So, first of all, I mean, I've got some some honest confessions to make. Professor Moni, you are just the kind of person who would make me feel very small in a classroom because you are such a solid academically solid person and the kind of professors who used to hang us upside down and dry us in the sun. All right. So it's an absolute pleasure, and I hope this time is worth it. Second confession is that I'm really not a web person. I'm so much more comfortable talking to students or my participants in a real life situation, and I hope this subject, which is a lot of empathy, a lot of emotions into the subject. It is not something like it's not like an equation. It's not like a mathematical equation which we're discussing today. When you're discussing agri startups, when you're discussing agripreneurs, when you're discussing convergence, we're talking about human relationships, and it's something which is best understood when on a one-to-one session. So I do hope I'm able to, make this time worth everybody. Yeah. So the subject today given to us is leveraging the power of convergence, and convergence basically means people coming together in this current topic. We talk about agri startups, agripreneurs, and rural innovators. But by the time this presentation gets over, I hope I would have been able to establish the fact that all these convergence go beyond any brackets. Um, can we have the first slide? Yeah. Am I audible? Can you give me a thumbs up, Moni sir?
Audible. Audible.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. So, the first question, we need to understand convergence against a perspective. The context is very, very important. Professor Moni gave some phenomenal figures about agriculture. You know, uh, I mean, the whole idea of doubling of agriculture income was a very, very audacious statement within itself. Till now, we had been, as a nation, talking about production, productivity. No one was really focusing upon income of the farmer as such. And that itself takes you to this first question, what is the foundation of a society? And people give me, all kinds of floral answers. It's trust, it's faith, it's hope, it's optimism, and all that. But I tell you, the foundation of a society around us today, as I know, is inequality. And if everybody is equal, then we're talking about a society which is very, very, very utopian, very unreal. And let me show you some statistics to um, build upon this. Now, look at this slide carefully. This is the wealth of 1% of the world. 1% of the, and this report just came a couple of months ago. These figures are very, very much in the open domain. It's about how we interpret it. How do we relate to these figures? So the top 1% of the world's rich owned around 12% of the total wealth in 1961. The same population, 11.9% in 1961 became 16.1 in 91. So in this 30 years, that gap was around 4%. But in 2021, you look at it, we are looking at 1% of the top people actually holding 50% of the world's wealth. This is never happened in the past. Not when you had any kind of systems in the world. But today we have a system, we have a governance structure in place, which encourages this kind of a setup in which 1% of the world own 50% of the resources. That's a very, very disturbing feature. We need to, and I personally feel that convergence holds a lot of answers to bringing this kind of, to disrupting this equation. The poor people, the people who want to have resources, the ones who want to have access to resources, need to come together. They need to converge to make a difference. Otherwise, the system always has benefited. The system has always worked for the rich, for the ones who have access to resources. That has been the story of human evolution. And if we need to, change, then convergence is the way forward. Look at the statistics below. A farmer gets around 36 rupees from cultivation in this country a day. And this is just about 33 to 35% of his income. The remaining part of his money in a day, this guy is working as an agricultural laborer. He's working as a welder, as a driver, whatever. So cultivation just gets him about 25 to 30 rupees a day on an average in this country. The average, the poverty line in US is $35 a day. Poverty line in India is $1.9 a day. And some people may say, look, you need to look at the parity of dollar And I mean, all those economic fundamentals are being brought in. But the fact of the matter is that in a world in the world we're living in today, one country has $35 a day as a poverty line, and somebody else across the planet is 1.9. Of course, there's a debate about this. Sujit Balla and people like that, they have said that this poverty line needs to be pushed up to $3.4 a day, which is more realistic now. But the fact is, look at the differences. I mean, this is something which is very, very stark, in your face. Now, when we look at inequality, the next thing is who has access to resources in the country, and it is urban India which is sitting on top of the resources. It also shows, we in our houses and offices, when we open the newspapers and we hear, when we read this fact that there's a increasing urbanization in this country, which is coming with a whole lot of challenges for people like you and me who are used to living in, air conditioned houses, and we complain about the traffic on the road. Population is increasing, sanitation services are poor. But the fact is that the rural people are not happy about coming to urban India as migrants. It's a big myth we have. They want to be back in their houses too. They want to be back in the villages, but the rural India does not give them the basic services which urban India has taken for granted, like a road, a basic road, like water, like access to electricity. I mean, we in Bombay, Delhi, power outages become like virtually a rare thing. But in rural areas, every day 7 to 8 hours is a reality even today. Jobs are a scarce commodity in rural India. So we need to understand that this whole narrative of agri startups and rural enterprises, rural innovations, and convergence, etc., 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 has to be seen against the context that it is something which you need to do today, because the world as it is cannot continue the way it is continuing. And this is the vision of people like the Prime Minister. They are statesmen, really. They have a vision for the country. And and as will come later, very soon in this presentation, I'll take you. There are things which are afoot. Change is afoot. Change is being brought into play as we are talking. But that change perhaps needs to be understood by a lot more people. A lot more people to come together to make it more meaningful. Now, before I start, a little bit about what we have done, and that is also very critical because I am representing NABARD and NAB Foundation, and I will take you through what we have done and why NAB Foundation was imagined. And it's important for. I don't know what kind of an audience we have today. That's another issues of a web talk. It could be very large number of people. Professor Moni told me yesterday that some students have also joined us today from university in Telangana, which is wonderful. So I try to revisit the presentation on
Mr.
from that
Rohilla,
perspective.
today
Yes, sir.
I got a lot of calls from many part of the students from home science, branches, and especially from the Jaishankar Telangana Agricultural University. The students from the Education Extension Education Institute, they're all who are all undergoing various programs on entrepreneurship and so on and so forth. They are participating it from the
Wonderful. Okay.
various through Facebook link or YouTube link and a LinkedIn link, and also from the these views, and
Great.
and please carry on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So I think I designed this PPT from that perspective. I think I wanted to give them some perspective about how institutions work and what work they're doing, and the macro picture basically. So as our chairman, Dr. J. Chintala, has been, last two when he took over as chairman, he walked into COVID. All right, we walked into a world which was going to change forever, and that was when he took over as chairman. And our focus has been on a lot of issues since then. And the balance sheet size this year has shot up to 7,57,000 crore, which is a phenomenal increase in the last 2.5 years, especially against the background of the COVID. But the thing which he has been maintaining all along is that this growth has to be seen against the fact that whom are we impacting? Who is this balance sheet for? It is not the balance sheet of a commercial bank. It's not a bank of corporate. It's the balance sheet size of a development financial institution. So this makes a lot of sense because it has been impacting uh, people in the backward areas. Our brothers and sisters in rural India, as he always says. Now, what is this change? Now, this is the a little two slides I've just brought in. I'll rush you through them because the idea is not to waste time on this. The work done by NABARD in the development sector is 6 to 7 broad areas. So we work through pilots. It's very important to understand that we are not government of India. Government of India has got access to um, financial resources, and as we say in Hindi, satta. Moni Sahib is in Delhi, he will understand the meaning of that word immediately. Satta, the access to power, the power to get large scale projects implemented with just a phone call. That's the power which government of India has. Now, as a development financial institution, we do not have that. We don't have access to unlimited resources from the budget, so we need to raise money from the market, and whatever profit we make of that money, we translate it into pilots, which we undertake across the country. So this is some kind of a CSR work, so to say, which NABARD has been doing for the last 30-35 years, long before CSR came into our consciousness as a policy driven tool. So microfinance was something which NABARD microfinance existed for a very long time, but the SHG bank linkage program was something which NABARD designed in 1990s, and today it is the largest microfinance program in the world. And the biggest success is that what NABARD does is that we give birth to we design a project and we make it a successful story, and then we present it to the stakeholders. Okay, look, this is something which the government can learn from, the government can replicate it. So microfinance was one such model, and we are so happy to say that the NRLM today, the entire SGSY movement which became NRLM today is nothing but SHG bank linkage program, and that is the power of a good idea. That is something which we're very proud about. Financial inclusion is something which we have been involved in for the long. Everything which we do today is financial inclusion. Watershed movement, which is ecology, soil health, soil conservation, water conservation. All this we have been doing for nearly 20 years now. We spend nearly 2,500 crores in this area, and I don't think there's some kind of a, I think I can formatting issue. The fourth slide is travel development projects which we have undertaken across the country, and these projects also have been replicated by various state governments across the country, and that I believe is the real success of a project. So to all the policy planners who are there with us today in this forum, my request is, if you think something is running well, we need to document it, and we needed to present it to the stakeholders, because alone, and that is convergence. That is what convergence is all about: to showcase good work and bring a lot more partners inside. Now, along with that, we have NABARD has worked in farm market linkages. We were the front runners in the FPO space. The Farmer Produce Organization. Today, we're talking about 10,000 FPOs, and we started this journey around 10-15 years ago now, and we have around 4,500 odd FPOs of NABARD, and the idea is to work with the government of India now, and have 10,000 FPOs in the next few years. Then we've got in the off-farm sector, livelihood sector, NABARD has been working, which is skilling and marketing support to artisans across the country. NRM is something which is very, which has been the mainstay of NABARD's policy framework thinking for nearly 3 decades now. Um, Institutional development is another thing which has been again something has been a we understood that if the health of the rural financial institutions is not in place, then we are not looking at a healthy rural India, because the rural India is depending upon rural financial institutions for the credit support. But then, of course, today the whole I think if you heard Professor Moni talking earlier, it was all about how technology is changing the very idea of everything which we have known till date. Today we are talking about having 45,000 odd branch nodes without any branches. We're talking about one person sitting with a POS terminal and doing basic banking. So this is something which we had not imagined 10 years ago. The change is happening so fast that if we don't talk of adoption of technology, and connecting the dots to say connecting people who are providing this technology, then we are going to again get into our own silos and somebody is doing something else, and that doesn't work. Of course, in the same breath, I will add that convergence today is far easier because of technology, because of the data points which are there in the system. Convergence is so much easier today. Now, around we NABARD had been working with, as we said earlier, 6,000 NGO partners across the country in practically every sphere of rural India: women empowerment, farm technology, rural innovations, rural technology, farmer collectives, soil health, financial inclusion, infrastructure. For everything which is required in rural India, NABARD has been a part of that. But while we were, doing our bit, as I always say, being the change makers around us, the world changed very fast. That is something which is a very positive side also. And what was this change? Now, if you see, this slide shows you what we're talking about. This is something which was unimaginable. Today, there's so much more accountability in the system. The government is far more proactive. There are so many connection points for people to engage with the system. Look at NRLM. And today it has touched this livelihood mission, has touched 83 crore households. 83 crore households. But it's the largest ever project undertaken by any government anywhere in the world. Then we're talking about the Jam Trinity. It has become a cliched line in India. The opposition parties wanted to take a claim on it. Researchers have another theory in this, but I'm saying forget all that. Keep it all aside. Look at the figures as they are. The Jandan accounts, Aadhaar, and mobile. So we have opened around 45 crore Jandan accounts in this country, which is like thrice the population of many countries. We have got around 100 crore Aadhaar enrollments as of date. 100 crore Aadhaar, 10 billion, uh, 100 crore Aadhaar enrollments, and we are still looking at at covering another 25-30 crore yet to go. India again has the largest number of mobile networks in the world now. I think second next to only China. 75 crore mobile connections in this country, and there are many studies done by Harvard and people who come from other countries to India. They are absolutely astounded by these figures. Astounded by these figures. nowhere in this world has any government been able to pull off, such a big coup in terms of technology. Then we're looking at other projects like Skill India, Stand Up India. The numbers may not be crores over here, but we have covered 1.32 youths have been skilled in India. Stand Up India has got 1.35 lakh people have been given loans for 36,000. Now, these are all phenomenal policy frameworks, if you ask, you know. And then, so in a word, the government of India today is not the government of India what we had in 70s or 80s. This is a different um, government, far more exacting in its expectations, far more demanding, and far more futuristic in its ambitious thinking. Along with this energized government of India, we have a set of new entrants in the market. We've got, as Sumi sir was saying, 1,000 agri startups. I'm not even going to other startups. I'm looking at agri startups alone. We've got small finance banks. We've got financial inclusion as a technology, for so many startups. We've got hundreds of Agripreneurs, startups, venture capital funds for sector-specific venture capital funds. Then we have got CSR, which is a big entity within itself, and we're talking about a lakh crore which has come in the last 5 to 6 years in the development space, which is a lot of money, if you ask me. NABARD, of course, tried to match up to these changes around in the ecosystem. We have so many subsidiaries today, which we did not have earlier. We got subsidiaries which are talking to for FPOs, for SFGs, for MFIs. We're talking. We have got venture capital subsidiaries. We have got NAB Sanction, which is into providing credit guarantee support. So at our level also, we have been trying to catch up with the fast changing environment around us. But around around 2 or 3 years ago, the board of NABARD felt that it was time to open, really, to engage with more and more different types of people, not just NGOs. But how about talking to agriculture universities in a more organic manner? How about talking to universities which are actually talking, like Shobhit University, classic example, phenomenal amount of work, phenomenal amount of footprint. We're talking. I was amazed in the initial remarks of Professor Sumi. I mean, there's virtually nothing which is left out. We're talking about agriculture, we're talking about FPOs, we're talking about data sharing, we're talking about technology in every form. So, but where is NABARD talking to Shobhit University today? No. Do we need to? Yes. How? We don't know. Right? Because that will come with a convergence. That will come with some kind of networking. The universities are one. Then we have agri enterprises across the country. We have FPOs across the country. So in bits and pieces, NABARD was indeed working. NABARD has been running pilots across the country. So we are talking to, say, Tamil Nadu Agriculture University. We're talking to Telangana Agriculture University. We're talking to some university in Assam. We're talking to some university in Gujarat. It is happening. But maybe the board said it's time for you to organize in a more organic manner, more systematic manner. Then we had a host of CSR entities across the country, and they came to NABARD and they said, "Look, we have got the money, and we have got a vision, but we need to have a partnership with people like NABARD who have been in the development space for many years now." So against that background, NABARD said, let's have a foundation which will work in a very collaborative manner. And our byline was, in fact, connecting the dots. Our byline was leveraging the power of convergence. And against that, with that mindset, NAB Foundation was set up in 2019. And that is when I was in Meghalaya, and I was given this wonderful opportunity to be the CEO of this foundation, and it's been an amazing, remarkable journey so far. Can you please run the little 2 minute video of NAB Foundation over here?
Mr. Manish.
Manishi, can you run that? Yeah. Thank you, Manish. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, in a very brief manner, this is where we stand, the core mandate of NAB Foundation, and this is an important slide for everybody who wants to engage with us. And believe me, my line is, I want to engage with everybody. That's how we plan to grow, and we do not have so many times people ask me, do you have a fixed agenda? Are you looking at only technology? Are you looking at only soil health? Are you only looking at women empowerment? And I said, no, I am a child of my organization, and my organization NABARD has worked in every sphere which concerns rural India, and that is the vision of NAB Foundation also. We are going to be working with every sector which needs our help. We're going to be working with everybody who can be part of our vision. So the broad four major objectives in front of NAB Foundation. If anyone in the audience feels it fits in over there, it will be an absolute pleasure to connect with you. Our email is very simple. It's nabfoundation@nabard.org. That's NABFOUNDATION, NAB Foundation @nabard.org. A simple email ID over there. So we are here to broad-base projects of NABARD. We are here to bring external projects closer to NABARD. We know for a fact that there's a lot of amazing, wonderful work happening outside NABARD, and we need to bring that closer to inside our policy framework. That's a complete U-turn that we have taken over here. We're not saying that the world begins and ends with us. We're not saying that. We're saying we need to go and embrace the world, look at what's happening around, and bring the best policies and practices into our functioning. Third thing is, of course, taking up individual projects as desired by NABARD, my parent body. NABARD has been facing some issues in terms of geographies, basically. So we do not have many partners in, say, Leh and Ladakh. We don't have many partners in central Madhya Pradesh or in northeast. Then we have areas where we do not have civil society partners with those skill sets. So the idea was to have a foundation of your own, which could develop those projects for you with in a collaborative model, and take it up on behalf of NABARD. And fourth is, of course, the sweet spot in my story, as I always say, is designing unique collaborative projects on our own. Which is which is the most exciting work for me, because we are able to imagine a new reality. We are able to imagine projects, and um, I'll just take the next slide. We'll take you through what we have done in brief, a couple of projects to give you a slice of what we want to do. And we are open to working with Agri startups, Agri Innovators. We are working PSU, CSRs. We're already working on a lot of them, corporate CSRs, and of course, Agri universities. Um, so these are our channel partners, so to say. And NAB Foundation is a foundation, is an NGO, in the sense that we normally ground our projects, visualize our projects only with good NGO partners. And if we do not have, like, a good NGO partner, then we good in the sense an experienced NGO partner in that domain, then we have a very hybrid model in which we can bring one technocrat to the board of NGO, and that technocrat brings a skill set to this NGO, and the NGO then becomes empowered to work in the domain where we want to work. And that really works very well, because NGOs are also very happy to deal with professionals who bring in new thought process into their functioning. And that is something which has been a huge blessing for me. The kind of partnerships and the kind of amazing individuals that we have had a chance to work with in the civil society space, in the NGO space. Real lot of learning for me, working with them. So we are, as a foundation, of course, we get funding support from NABARD, and we get funding support from CSR units. And we if the project is, say, worth 1 crore, then NABARD could give me 60 lakhs, and I would like to raise 40 lakhs from the market, or 30 lakhs from the market, and 10 lakhs would be my own equity in this project. So we try to really bring convergence, financial convergence, into every project that we do. It is not that NABARD has said, okay, NAB Foundation has been given X amount of money and you go and launch projects on your own. No, that was not the idea. For doing that, we already have major departments in NABARD, like MCID, FSDD, DFIBT, OFDD. These are large departments with huge funding of their own. So we didn't want to recreate that kind of whole story again. Now, in a line, design innovative projects, seek all possible collaborations and partnerships, and then we take up what is known as what we call it generally an MIS, new generation MIS based execution. So that is the work profile for us. These are some of the projects which we are looking at right now. I do not want to take you through all of them, but three projects I'd like to talk about today over here. One of them is, of course, MPMR, My Pad, My Right. My Pad, My Right was again a child of COVID. When COVID struck, a lot of narratives were coming across the country, how the system had collapsed, and farmers were selling things directly, and migrants were walking back. And in all this, that canvas, one thing which really hurt us a lot was how menstrual hygiene became a challenge for rural women. In this country, just about 10 to 11% rural women have got access to sanitary pads, and it's something which is not even discussed ever in our India, because it's a taboo subject in any case, in every religion in the country. It only comes with education that people talk about menstrual hygiene. Otherwise, there's no religion, no society which is untouched by this taboo. So we reached out to Mr. Muruganantham, Arunachala Muruganantham, the Padman of India, and under this project, it was a unique project of its first type in the country, and we established one sanitary pad making machine in one district, and we trained a group of women, SHG, self-help group women. They were trained to run this machine, operate it, manage it, and sell the pads. From day one, they were the owners from day one. and we launched 34 such projects across the country during COVID. And some of the projects, of course, had some remarkable success, phenomenal success. A few places we did run into some rough weather. That is a lifeline of every project. Manish, can you please run that small 2 minute movie on MPMR? That's the only video I want to show you today. Next, no other videos after that. It will show you this video will show you the distance we have covered. Manish, can you show that, please?
Manoj, yeah, Mr. Manish. Mr. Manish.
नाबार्ड ने एक अनोखी पहल शुरू की है। मेरे लिए गर्व की बात है कि आज चाहे बहन जम्मू से हो, झारखंड से हो, छत्तीसगढ़ से हो, माई पैड माई राइट के इस कार्यक्रम में वो सर उठाकर इस बात को स्वीकार करती है कि हाँ चुनौतियां रही, लेकिन ये भी संकल्प लेती है कि ये चुनौती किसी और बहन तक ना रहे।
Thank you, Manish. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So there was just a little, little 2 minute to show you the effort which went into it. But we ran this project during COVID. There was a big challenge, Moni sir. There was a huge challenge because supply of machines was a challenge. I mean, what not? Trainers were a challenge. So that was one thing that we are working on developing an NER livelihood portal. This is a very unique project. First time ever again, we are collecting database from 8 states of Northeast for the first time. We have developed a website and a smart application. Incidentally, the movie which you saw earlier was virtually designed and produced in-house in NAP Foundation by one of my colleagues, Stuti. I mean, she that's the power of, I think, the youth. She's the youngest member of our team, and she did it on her own. That's the power of believing in the youth. They will just because we're talking about youths on NER livelihood portal. So we are developing this portal for the youths of Northeast, and there's an application, smart application on Android and iOS. Anybody can upload his data. And what is his data point? Very simple: age, what does he want to do, what is his background, and his 11 to 12 lines about him, along with his identification. And this data then travels to us. And what do we do with this data from 8 states, from thousands of people? We divide this data into state level, district level, block level, village wise aspirations. So we will know at the end of 1 year, in Dispur district of Assam, we have got 30 boys and girls who want to take up poultry farming. 30 girls who want to, get into cafe business, or homestay farming, or homestay tourism. So we wanted to. This database doesn't exist. We have been skilling youths based upon what we think they need. But this is the first time we are asking them, what do you need? We are reversing the whole cycle, and it was an idea which struck so well that 2 union ministers and 5 chief ministers have already come forward to be a part of this story. We have got Baichung Bhutia, our ex-footballer, captain of India. He's on board as a brand spokesperson. And we've got 8 top pop artists from Northeast who came forward to make a song, for this project. The point I'm making is that, this is again a power of convergence. We cannot sit in a corner and design something without, from the foundation stage itself, we need to have convergence in our mind. And that would mean keeping my ego aside. It is not a NAP Foundation project. It is a project of Northeast by Northeast. We are just one of the agencies. I think the fact that Mr. Rijiju, Union Minister for Law, took time out to record a video message is a huge contribution that he has made. I think 8 to 9 young artists coming together to write a song and record is a huge convergence point for us. Money becomes secondary. If you have so many people coming together to make an idea happen, believe me, money just follows around. In this NER livelihood project also, you won't believe, we could raise money from 4 different CSR partners over just one phone call. Because the idea seemed exciting, because it had not been done before ever in this country for Northeast. Then the third project which I want to talk about in very brief is the broom grass in Meghalaya. So Meghalaya produces the largest amount of broom grass in the country, and there is till date not a single mid to large level broom making factory in Meghalaya. So what happens to all the broom grass? Well, traders come from across the country, pick up the broom grass and take it back to their states and turn it into broomsticks. You know what's the margin? The margin is that at one point of time, when we started designing this whole thing, today, of course, the broom grass price has gone up to 130 rupees a kilo. 1.5 years back, when I was in Meghalaya, the broom price used to be 25 rupees a kilo. And one broomstick, 1 kilo broom grass makes 4 broomsticks. Each broomstick sells for 180 rupees on Amazon. That is the margin we're talking about. So we said it's time to make a company of broom growers in Meghalaya. The tribals of Meghalaya should be the owners of this company. They should be taught how to make this broomstick. They should be given a facility where they can come together, learn how to make it. They should be given marketing support. And against that background, we designed this project. And I'm so happy to share today that we've got around nearly 150 odd shareholders, or already the company has been formed. We are JSW Foundation came forward to give the steel, and NABARD, of course, is the largest funding partner for this project. And we should be able to sell broomsticks made by our own tribal farmers of Meghalaya in a couple of months from now, 2 to 3 months. And the Chief Minister of Meghalaya will be launching this project along with the chairman in a month or so. So that is one third project. Fourth is Apno Pani. It is a very technologically sound. It's an RO water filter running on solar power in a very, very hot and dry state of Jodhpur. Village is Kharabera Bhimawatan. It's the first of its type project in which women are going to be running this RO unit. There is there's an app which we have developed, and anybody in the village can just send a message, and the message is captured on that app. And in the beginning, in the morning itself, the women get to know that this is the amount of water we need to clean during the day. 6,000, 7,000 liters of water is required in the village. And then there is an electric vehicle on on which the woman will not perhaps drive it in Rajasthan. We know that somebody will be hired to drop water in front of every supply, door to door supply of RO water. Remember, this has to be seen against the background that women in this village were walking 2 to 3 kilometers at least every day to collect water in the morning, in the afternoon, in the sun. It's a very, very difficult life. So these are some of the. There are totally 12 to 13 projects which we are working on right now. I don't want to go into all that. That is not the idea. But the reason why I included this slide was to show you that convergence, like in Apna Pani, the convergence is between NABARD, GRID, Grassroots Initiative Development, which is a Delhi-based agency. We are working with the village level farmer collective. A Samiti has been formed over there. We are working with the district level administration. We are working with a rural bank. 5 people have come together to make one small project healthy. This project is around just about 30 lakhs or so. Compare that to MPMR, which is overall 48 to 50 crores. So whether you have a small project or a large project, if you do not have convergence in your mind, if you do not keep your ego, your ahem aside, and say, oh, I'm going to be working with 5 people and everybody is going to be owning this project from day one. It's not going to be NAB Foundation project. Grid has got every right to say, this is my project. That little group of, those pop artists in sitting in Assam, it is the Project New Northeast Region Entrepreneurs World. That is their project. It is a project of Baichung Bhutia. He can stake a claim to this project. Nobody's going to say, look, this is NAB Foundation's project. And that is the real success of convergence. If it comes from your heart, then convergence is relevant. Otherwise, we're just talking a lot of fancy looking English, and convergence stays a beautiful concept on paper. Now, what is going to be the shape of the new development ecosystem? And this is for students as much as it is for people who want to know where development ecosystem is heading. So I personally believe that CSR in the coming years is going to be a phenomenal game changer. As I said earlier, just about 1 lakh crore has come into this system in a period of just about 4 to 5 years. And this is against the background where corporates are not revealing the full data. Remember, fudging of figures, understating is a curse of this system we are living in. Let us not be very we can be honest about it. Not every corporate is revealing how much profit is making, and I believe the government is working in this line. I believe, and I know for a fact that the systems will be tightened more and more. Guidelines will be streamlined more, and you'll find more and more funds coming into the CSR space. And everything which is of meaningful significance, NGOs will have to depend more and more upon CSR supporting, and the corporates would also want to work with NGO partners who are running like corporates. Now, this is a very ionic statement, because NGOs never wanted to be corporates in the first place. And one of the sessions I took, in fact, that day was very huge ionic. The subject itself was need for corporate ethics in NGOs, and a lot of my NGO partners were very, very hurt. What are you saying? But what we meant by that day was that, look, this is the demand of this sector. Why a CSR agency is looking for a very corporate NGO? For the simple reason that the CSR is under pressure by law to show results on paper, and that result is basically nothing but MIS, very structured MIS on a weekly basis, monthly basis, more data driven approach in development. planning, development project planning, project execution. So this is going to happen, and I believe the financial ecosystem we're running in is going to be driven by, as we progress further, is going to be more and more of how a US aid or a UNIDO sees a development project. That is exactly how a CSR funding partner will like to see the project. And remember, who is running a CSR unit today? A CSR unit is being run by perhaps somebody who has come from an Oxford or an Harvard, a person from TIS or from some IRMA graduate who has worked for 25, 30 years. These people are heading CSR units, and they all come from that professional world in which they see numbers, they see figures, they demand data. And in the development space, that is something which we'll have to also accept. Incidentally, Government of India is also getting increasingly corporatized in every way, and their stress on technology, on digital understanding, digital database, digital footprint is a proof of that. So it's something which we need to get ready for. You can skip this slide. I think everybody knows the money which has been increasing, but I'm telling you, this is going to be a lot more. Next 4 to 5 years, you'll see if the economy indices are strong. If we continue to grow at 7.5, 8.5% a year, which has been our average, you will see, and there are no black swan events our way. You will see CSR funding rising, CSR support rising. So, which against this context, we come to this point about convergence. See, sometimes we say that journey is a destination, right? You may feel like the subject was convergence, but we're talking about everything else. But I'm telling you, I was talking about convergence all along, and that is the whole power of convergence. Okay, so for me. Government of India, state governments, corporates, social innovators, academics, DFIs, credit agencies, everybody has to be part of this convergence loop. However simplistic it sounds, do you know that ministries don't talk to each other? Ministries talk to Ministry of Finance for financing, but you will not find a Ministry of Textiles talking to Ministry of Rural Development in a structured way. It also happens in commercial banks. You will find that the loaning department is not always working in tune with other departments. Within corporates, you will find production management is not working with marketing department. They all work in silos. As you do the students in the group, when you join corporates, you will find that the world is indeed a very divided place, and that is the only overriding truth of human evolution, of corporate evolution. People tend to think in silos because the whole performance is driven not by convergence. Performance is driven by individual results. How much business did you bring in? What technology did you bring into the company? How many people did you hire? So indices are always driven by either individual growth parameters or departmental growth parameters, or segment driven growth is seen. It is not about only one person, the CEO at the top, the chairman at the top is looking at convergence. So I believe that it is something which is more of it's a human issue, if you ask me, because every system on paper talks about convergence. Every policy which is designed by NABARD or Government of India or RBI, Professor Moni has been, I think, part of hundreds of reports. And if you ask him, he will say, Sanjeev, every time I sit down on the table to design a policy, I'm thinking convergence. That's a part of his, at a top level, he's thinking convergence from that moment. But at implementation stage, convergence gets divided and people start thinking in their silos. And that is the whole tragedy of convergence. Now, before we, few slides are remaining. For me, an agripreneur is a role, and innovator.
You,
I've not come across
you skipped to the previous slide. You just put it once again. Okay.
Yeah, this is the subject given to us, sir. This was the subject given to us. I was just breaking it down. For me, an agripreneur is a. I've not come across a single successful agripreneur, and these are who? These are guys who have left Stancy jobs, or they've left an HSBC job, or these are people who left banking jobs, or who left some IT job in Hyderabad, or came from abroad, or some farmer's son who said, look, I'm going to be doing this in an entrepreneurial way. I'm going to think like an entrepreneur. I'm not going to be letting agriculture be a chance driven thing. And agriculture is the riskiest profession, riskiest business in the world. Riskiest business in the world. You don't control the elements at all in any way. So when we say an agripreneur, what we're trying to say is that we're trying to bring enterprise into agriculture. An enterprise is something which has got planning, and an enterprise is something which is driven by some kind of financial planning, some kind of control over the elements. Hence the word agripreneur. And most of a rule innovator may not be an agripreneur, but an agripreneur has to be a rule innovator. And his innovation may be in terms of systems planning, systems innovation in soil, maintaining the soil or changing the whole texture of the soil through nutrients, crop diversification, bringing some kind of technology and joining it with another technology already existing. So an agripreneur has to be a rule innovator. That's one thing which I wanted to make just a standalone point. At NAB Foundation level, we have been working with agripreneurs. We have been working with rule innovators. Our first tie-up was with Agri, which is a part of Invest India, and we try to. They have got technologies which they want to push through. We had technologies. Incidentally, NABARD had a brilliant scheme called Rural Innovation Fund. Under RIF, NABARD has financed nearly 700 rural innovation pilots in this country. It's not a fact which is known because we don't talk about it. Frankly speaking, we are a very humble kind of an organization. We really you not find much mention of what NABARD is doing, but there are thousands of success stories across the country. So we two innovations which I want to mention was one is Soil Sathi and one is Sabji Koti, and these are beautiful rural innovations and which are meant for the poor people. So the slide on right hand side you see, this is basically nothing but a movable cold storage. Simple technology, and it runs on solar power, and you can store your vegetables for at least 2 to 3 days without any decay at all, which is a huge blessing, because that's the time which a vendor needs. An agriculture vendor and sabji wala does not need to store his vegetables for 5 days, 6 days, but yes, he definitely would love to have some system which allows him to keep for at least 2 to 3 days, because agricultural loss is a huge loss. Do you know nearly 45 to 45% of our produce gets wasted in transportation in this country even today because of lack of storage, scientific storage. So we need solutions like this. We collaborated with RUCAT, and the point is that this is again. I mean, if we have time later, I'll tell you these innovations need convergence, and how they are begging for convergence, because this is a technology which somebody has developed. But what does he need? So we organized in NAB Foundation. We organized a website, a day long website. We engaged a day long seminar to understand what did our startups need from the system, and we had wonderful, brilliant insights we got. Now I don't need to develop much upon it. The Ernst & Young has pegged the agri technology market at $24 billion by 2025. Sadly, just 1% of it has been tapped as of now. Now, this figure is, so somebody says, oh, so that means 99% is tappable. Well, no. That is something which you need to understand. If I say 1% has been tapped, well, that because the system allows you to tap only 1%. You can't tap the remaining 100% as of now. The enabling infrastructure is just not there. We've got small land holdings, we've got lack of roads, infrastructure is a challenge, network connectivity is a challenge. There's a lack of belief in credit providers. Bad loans is a challenge. Bad erratic monsoons are a challenge. So you cannot simply have this figure saying we have tapped 1%, 91% can be tapped in the next year. No, it doesn't happen like that. You are able to tap things in a systematic manner if the system enables it. We've got some 600 to 700 agri-tech startups. Moni sir was saying is 1,000. I'm sure they would have increased. This is like 1.5 years back. Things are changing very fast. A lot more people are coming in. Don't be surprised if 600 becomes 1,000 in a year's time. That is the speed at which change is happening all around us. Funding continues to be a challenge. Our $619 million funding we had in agri tech sector. In 2021, we had $2 billion. This, of course, needs to be compared with US and China, which are our competitors in this ag tech space. The US is, of course, the technology hub in the world. $9.5 billion went into agriculture technology. China had $4.5 billion. Where is this money? What is agri-tech startups doing? Well, I'm sure you have had many sessions on this subject. I'll just, in one line I've kept over here, based upon my experience, they're into precision farming. They are into providing weather advisories. They are into providing sector-specific technology. So for fisheries or for horticulture, or for cold storage, they are into aggregating. A lot of agriculture, agri startups are about aggregating farm produce and connecting B2B or direct to home D2H marketing platforms are being set up. This is largely in a line what agriculture startup world is doing today, and it is estimated that agriculture technology and agri startups together can improve the yield by 30% simply by connecting the dots, simply by coming together. They can by connecting farmers with agriculture startups, the product income can go by 30%. Very important slide, and I think this is something which I would like to spend a little minute on, 2-3 minutes on. See, what do agri startups need today? So what do they have already with them? They have technology with them. They have dedicated senior leadership heading them. There is dedication, there is passion, which is what we always keep on looking for. And believe me, sometimes they have got access to credit also. But when I talk to them, they said, Sanjeev, what we really need is access to the right segment of farming communities. We need to know what, we have the soil testing kit with us. We need to connect with the farmers who need this soil testing kit. They also need it, but they don't know that we have got the support, to provide them. So how do we connect with them? I am an agri startup. I have spent all my money and time in developing this technology. I do not have the funding support of or a marketing budget of a Reliance or an Adani to have full page ad in Times of India or in Economic Times or in Dainik Jagran saying that I've got this soil testing kit, dear farmer, come to me. I've got this soil testing kit just cost 70,000 rupees. And for the rest of your life, you will know what to grow in your farm, what nutrients are missing in your farm. That is the agri startup has got this wonderful service to give to the farmer, but he does not have the money to provide that marketing support to his technology. That is the biggest link, if you ask me. It's not money for the technology. They have developed the technology. Now, when look at the challenge over here. When this agri startup guy goes to a venture capital fund for funding support, banks will of course not fund them. Banks are looking at fund money which can come back. Agri startup guy doesn't have an idea which will give you money in the right within the short span of 3 to 5 years, and banks don't look beyond 3 to 5 years typically. But that is whether their lending is linked to their deposit based. Deposits are not for the more than 3 to 5 years, so they're looking at loans of 3 to 5 years. So you can't blame them. Their vision is limited to the midterm of 3 to 5 years. Agri startups do not work in 3 to 5 years. It takes time. It takes 3 to 5 years to perhaps develop technology itself. I mean, and a whole lot of passion. And so banks are not really the partners for this. Venture capital guys come in. What does a venture capital guy need today? Venture capital guy is also looking for the 4-letter word, exit. Every venture capital guy comes to you with an exit in his mind. When will I be able to get out of this, startup? What will be the my? Will it be 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, 10x? They talk in terms of 10x, 4x returns, and they talk for exit policy. Well, venture capital fund is not again run by Government of India. These are private sector people who have put in their hard-earned money. Okay, so it's a very challenging situation, if you ask me, for an agri startup, and no fault of theirs, and no fault of the system, by the way. So they need access to the right audience. Of course, they need adequate and timely credit, which is the most abused and often quoted line. Then they need outreach through public funded established networks systems. What do I mean by that? What a simple thing I mean by that is, imagine State Bank of India. Imagine State Bank of India with this lakh plus branch network. It puts a small little sticker outside its branch in vernacular languages, saying that soil testing kit is important, and you can every farmer can take a loan of 40,000 rupees from SBI for getting this soil testing kit. And if 3 farmers come together, this price can come down to 45,000 rupees. Okay. SBI, to do that, needs to believe in the idea, the fact that soil testing is important. SBI needs to believe in the agri startup. That would mean a lot of change in our thinking. And everything cannot be run on a commercial platform when you're talking about development. And agri startups are in the development space. Remember, it is not in a hardcore commercial zone. Now, coming to the last slide, if you ask me, and that is actually the mythology versus reality. And the mythology is that convergence is beautiful, convergence is glorious, convergence is great, convergence is needed. The reality is that convergence is a huge challenge. Convergence comes with a lot of lack of belief and time to spend. We are running short of time. Everybody has some agenda, and nobody has the time today to really sit down and listen to an agri startup story. Say, sir, we're doing this, and next 7 to 8 years we can touch 1 lakh farmers, sir, and it can be a game changer. People do not have that kind of a bandwidth to be so patient. That's So, which brings us to I think the last slide for me is that it's 1:16, 1:30 was the time given to us, and for me, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? So from demand side, who are the demand? What is the demand side is? Demand side is agri startups. I believe that they need to have a collaborative tie-up in the design stage itself. That is one thing which I've realized after talking to them. What do we mean by that? So when, supposing a soil testing guy is designing an agri startup, I think there's a huge need for him to also converge with some agri startup which is dealing with FPOs today. You cannot be designing your agri startup premises, this is what I'm going to be doing in a silo in the beginning stage itself. You need to think that if I design this, how do I get to interact with other FPOs? you know, the end users, and who are the which are agri startups are already working with farmers. There has to be some kind of a synergy in the design stage itself. You cannot wake up and say 4 years later, look, I need to do that. So please, we need to work on that. Second thing is, we need to have collaboration in the midterm. Supposing you are already running an agri startup, it is there in 2 years have passed off already. Perhaps it's the right time to immediately start connecting with other agri startups. Don't half of the solutions will come in that itself. And you may feel it's so simple, but in my life, I'm telling you, last 4 or 5 years that I've been working with startups and 2 years in App Foundation, I'm yet to come across one proposal where two agri startups have come to me and said, look, sir, we want to work together. Not one single such example can I share with you. So there is a need to collaborate in the midterm. Third thing I believe is a time to build industry voice. Today we have got FICCI or coming up with status papers on agri startups in the country, and they're doing a wonderful job. But I believe it is time for agri startups to also have a very strong body of their own. Excuse me, pardon my ignorance if there is already somebody like that. I would love to. If there is, I would love to engage with them tomorrow, today itself. So I think on the demand side, this is what I believe convergence requires. On the supply side, we have got Government of India, we've got NABARD, we've got RBI, we've got banks, we've got credit guarantee funds, we've got, of course, banks. So, what do these people need to do from the supply side to make convergence a reality? First, I believe is empathy in policy. Um, I'll take you back to the SSG Bank Linkage Program. Today, SSG Bank Linkage Program is like a part of our narrative. Whatever we say, we think in terms of women coming together. It was not so earlier. Until RBI and Government of India, RBI stepped up and said, look, this is a bona fide loan activity, which banks have to give loan for. That is when things began to move. So maybe Government of India has to step up and say, agri startups are not just another set of startups. Agri startups are nation builders. Agri startups are people who are imagining the new India. Agri startups are bringing equality into the system, equity into the system, and we must build a policy framework which encourages agri startups to really, really make a difference. So agri ag tech has to be seen as nation building, and development financial institutions, banks, RBI, they have to come together and say, look, agri startups, there could be some special fund from Government of India, which is providing the kind of subsidy they need. It could be linked to benchmark performance, you know. Um, but we need to just go beyond 2 or 3 percentage reliefs over here. We need to talk in terms of 50%, 60% support for agri startups, which need that support could be in terms of in terms of timelines like 3 to 5 years. You cannot give us support for 1 year, 2 year. It has to be spread over a period of time. And there are wonderful schemes already with the Government of India encouraging agri startups. There are so many forums where agripreneurs are trained, they are incubated. There are wonderful things are happening. I don't mean to downplay that work which Government of India is already doing for agri startups. What I mean is, and what I mean really from the bottom of my heart is that a system in which you actually incubate agri startup for a period of 7 to 8 years with full funding, knowing that this agri startup is doing something which is as important as what the Indian Army is doing, as important as what the health services are doing. So once we believe in the idea, then we should go all the way along to make it a reality. So the last slide is, we all know the convergence is king, but it comes with human frailties and human We need to keep that angle aside. We need to think like a team, and that means keeping your ego aside. And as a CEO of a company today, I can tell you this thing very honestly: everything in life around us is about human emotions. Everything, every product we buy, every rule we frame, every policy framework, it can all be, if you start distilling it, it all gets distilled down to some human emotion. And if that is missing, then everything is just a beautiful circular, you know, on paper. And with that, I end my little one presentation. Thank you so much for. I don't think anybody had a chance to argue in any case, so it was a one-way communication. Thank you so much.
Just 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Manish.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Manish,
Yes, sir.
is there any queries have come in the chat box?
No, sir.
Okay, thank
Great.
you, thank you.
That
Okay,
means we were very clear. Very clear.
very nice that
Wonderful.
that it's a very important talk which uh, Mr. Just 1 minute, just 1 minute. That Mr. Rohilla ji, for the last 1.5 hours, the talk which you had has really liberated me. And you showed the Chinese proverb: a tree has been planted 20 years back is the best time, first best time. The second bestest time is now. Now, the convergence I talked about in 1987, when I was given the responsibility to go for, visualize district level computerization program. I was given only 6 letter word, DISNIC, DISNIC, District Information System of NIC. So as an IITian, I thought that it is a best opportunity given to me by Government of India, National Informatics Center, then Planning Commission. So, and being a person who was born and brought up in rural area, seen the rural opportunities, I thought that it is an important thing to, bring technology back to India, technology adoption. So when I designed the district program, it was in mind. That's why I put it as a database development program for decision making. 28 sectoral database development programs and one on village level information system, 29. Present to the district collectors conference, which Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, the then Prime Minister, organized. And that's how the whole program came. Informatics revolution at the grassroots level when technology was not available. We had a D-based technology to prepare databases. I always used that using D-based, it is D-based, the database development. And and another one is name is Foxbase. Foxbase and D-base. And but it has brought an uniform approach of development of information systems development, strong in information system. People used to say by looking at the document, oh, this is looks like a World Bank document. And that is 87, 88, 90. And then when Dr. Manmohan Singh brought financial reforms, his document also people said it looks like a World Bank document. And anything which new in this country, the people can always say that, oh, it looks like a World Bank document. But I traveled from 87, 19, brought it that culture at the district level. And it is district, and NICNET. NICNET is a network infrastructure available in every district at that time, 512 district. That was at that time. If after taking it, every state government has got their own IT department and so on and so forth, budget, but everything has gone into computerization of government activity, not to building up database systems from the bottom up process. If that 28th, the district program would have been operationalized with everybody's, cooperation, and that time central government through National Informatics Center provided technical technocrats at the district level, 2 people at the district collector to work with the district collector. Today you have prime minister's fellows to work in people with a fellowship to work with the district collector in aspirational district. But in 1987, the then planning commission decided that National Informatics Center to have 2 technocrats in the district to work with the district administration to bring in informatics revolution. And that's how it has come out. And then 95, I was instrumental in having a big conference in Vigyan Bhavan to have a blueprint IT in agriculture that has brought in agricultural informatics as a discipline, and AgmarkNet and so many other things. That I visualized Agri's net with the 10,000 terminals way back in 2000, Fisheries Informatics Network, Animal Production and Health Informatics Network, and so on and so forth. And then, and last one is that in 2012, I was instrumental in, when I was the Deputy Director General in NIC, to have a network to monitor national disease monitoring, animal disease monitoring system, 7,032 locations. And it is, and it is very important that, that it has come out, which forced me to have that agricultural informatics, a discipline to train rural youths to get back them to agriculture. And then when I, as a chief advisor in IT in the agriculture ministry, during the Doubling Farmers Income Committee report, I was associated with the 2 volumes. Volume 12B talked about digital technology in agriculture on October 15th, 2020. One among, I was invited among the other 15 experts in a meeting with Honorable Defense Minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh, and Honorable Agriculture Minister, Mr. Tomarji. During the farmer strike, I told in the meeting, when there was no legislative support, I was, working and bringing out IT in agriculture. Now, Doubling Farmers Income has got 7 mission mode programs with the 3 Farm Acts. 3 Farm Act and the 7 mission mode programs. The mission mode programs can bring in, facilitate 2.25 lakh agri-tech deep startup in the country at the grassroots level, 1 per each Gram Panchayat, to help 14.5 crore operation holders. It will be a big revolution. And then Honorable Defense Minister said it, this is being, from the Soviet Institute of Engineering and Technology, is a private university from Western Uttar Pradesh. We should have a separate meeting. And this is, I thought that, this is that one has to do it, a person, a technocrat, work from the grassroots level for more than 35 years. Now through the educational platform, this is the first private university to have 5 centers of excellence, namely Center for Agricultural Informatics E-Governance, Agribusiness Management, Informatics Development Solution Application, Industry 4.0, and Health Informatics Computing, to work on 3 areas: technology, adoption in agriculture, SMEs, and health, to make rural economy, vibrant. Rural India can add $1.89 trillion to the existing GDP if technology is adopted, through the appropriate natural resource management. It is not happening. And this is that is that one which I thought that I should be in a position to bring it out. COVID situation has given a best opportunity. I thought that, you worked on that. Now this is a university has given a platform. Let us network people, bring in experts, convergence of ideas through an internet connectivity through this platform. That's what the co-learning platform, which the Soviet University has initiated. 2 national webinar on Doubling Farmers Income. Dr. Ashok Dalwai, chairman of the Doubling Farmers Income, Professor Moni as a member of the as the group leader of the Doubling Farmers Income Committee report. You have been promoting Doubling Farmers Income's, recommendations very effectively in the digital recommendations. And international webinar series to bring in our NRIs to work for agricultural development in the country. And I'm very happy that Asian African Rural Development Organization has joined with us to take this India's expertise to their member countries. You can see that the logo is there, that, and today is the 71st edition. And now I would like to request you that I am also associated with the NABARD as a member of the advisory committee way back in 2008 in the financial inclusion and fintech, finance technology, advisory group to drive that financial inclusion programs. And I know that NABARD is doing wonderful job, a lot of initiatives from the bottom up, and it is the time has come that second seed has to be put in. The best time is that how we are going to, why can't we work together, NAP Foundation and the 5 centers of excellence of the Shobhit Institute of Engineering Technology, to bring in technology, development and technology adoption in the rural area, to bring back rural boys and girls back into agriculture sector. And agriculture is an unstructured problem. If the district program would have been adopted in, as it was proposed way back in 87, today we would have got databases in various areas at the grassroots level. Adoption of artificial intelligence, big data analytics, and blockchain, various decision support system would have given a very nice bottom-up decision-making process. You would have brought in a lot of social entrepreneurs. Today topic, it would have given a we would have given a real power of convergence. You said it that agri startups, what do they want? You've given three says it leads to data and convergence. I'm telling about from 87 onwards that as an individual, as a technocrat, as an organization, and now with the Shobhit Institute of Engineering Technology, how we are driving it. Data and convergence are very important. Raw data, not statistics. That's why this university has launched an MTech level program in agricultural informatics, first university in the world. And that's a private university. No public university has got this, idea to work as an agriculture as a use case. And the MTech, BTech, and BG diploma, and MBA in agribusiness management on a very manner, and also MTech in informatics with e-governance standards approach. It's very important. We have 63 million MSMEs. We need to have industry 4.0. It's the industry 4.0 technology yet to reach the 63 million CEOs of MSMEs. If vocal for local has to make meaningful for globalization, these CEOs of the MSMEs, 69 million, have to be trained on industry 4.0. That's why we launched an MBA program on Industry 4.0 to train only MBAs, to train only CEOs of the MSMEs of this country to take the space which has been left by Chinese. And it is very important. And you said it that the startups want outreach through public funded established network and systems. You said it adequate and timely credit. You said it access to right segment of farming community. I was asked to address, the Kalari, venture capital programs on in the month of August 2018. I addressed about more than 450 agri startup. After listening to my talk, they said that, Prof. Moni, you are giving a complete value chain, giving problems for agri startups to work. The problem is that the startups with IT background, working in agriculture, not having agriculture background. Everybody is working on the, top level. Agriculture is an unstructured problem, having to look into below the earth, on the earth, and above the earth. And it's very important. And farm extension 4.0 has to be there. 12 areas where it can have a strong agri-tech startups to work on for 14.5 crore operational holders. So it is very important. You very rightly said it. A policy has to come out that agri startup is not like other startups. It is a foundation for new India. And it has to come, funding has to come for at least minimum 10 years for them to stabilize it. And complete value chain. In this country, we don't even have an MBA for agriculture marketing. We have an MBA for agribusiness. We don't have an MBA for agriculture marketing to man 7,500 wholesale mandis in the country. And then through AgmarkNet, which I was instrumental, And we were networked to 3,500 agriculture markets, wholesale mandis by 2008, starting from 1999. And I told them that Government of India, Department of Electronics should take AgriSmart as an e-governance project under agriculture. They didn't do it. If they would have done it, by 2005 when e-governance was announced, they said it agriculture as a generally it is a state subject. Let them steer it. And AgriSmart was well established. If they would have done it market-led extension, and that would have now by 2005 to 2022, it would have been 17 years of experience. We should have given that an opportunity for the farmer to produce what the customer wanted. It is very important. And we have 365 days sunshine in the country, more than 127 agriculture climatic zone, and 450 commodities, and the 14.5 crore operational holders. If we are able to have a digitalized agriculture value chain, we can provide food to the whole world. And our farmers need not be a poor people. Agriculture wastes about $17 billion every year. We waste it. We should convert wealth to waste. I initiated a program as a son of the soil for my district, that banana value chain. Banana alone, 264 crore plant being cut every year. After, whether the farmer gets his money for their fruit or not, but every plant can give 50 rupees. Fiber, cloth, material, fiber, and so on and so forth. 264 crores into 50 rupees per annum, 13,000 crores. We are not getting it. We are not finding any technology. And we have not even, have a fine agriculture fiber to mix with cotton fiber to get into, global market. And a lot of opportunities. And today your talk is an eye opener. And we are doing, as an individual, as an university, if I do 5 centers of excellence, that through this COVID situation, 73 plus 71 edition, 144 edition, it means that I was able to bring convergence of 144 startups, NGOs, entrepreneurs, experts, both from India and international organizations, to think about what we can do at the grassroots, at the farm level and farmer level.
Wonderful.
So 7 mission mode programs of doubling farmers' income, and an organization like NABARD, NAFKISAN, NAF Foundation, ARDO, and Shobhit Institute of Engineering Technology, we can do wonders for our farmers. We have to join together. And
Yes, sir.
it is very important and needed to collaborate. And with this, I would like to thank you. And my request is that that let us join together through a memorandum of understanding, and both of us are talking in the same language. And we have learned, I have traveled more than 35 years of journey in working for agricultural informatics, and I'm called as a father of agricultural informatics. And the country need to produce lot of agricultural informatics professionals to take agriculture through IT, and is very important. And we can show agriculture 4.0, agriculture 5.0 to the whole world. And
Great.
it's very important, and it's a time that we join together and work for the development at the grassroots level to make rural India, agriculture, health, and MSME, to give rural economy a booster. And rural India is a powerhouse for India's development. Powerhouse.
Thank you.
And it is very important. With this, I would like to have a final word from you. Then I will close the webinar.
So
Mr.
my
Rohilla.
final word is very simple, sir. It was an absolute honor to be with you, and I will be visiting Delhi. I've got a couple of meetings lined up over there, and I'll be visiting you for sure. If you're in Delhi at the point of time, we will definitely get together and work out the contours of this MOU, and something innovative, anything which can be done. Let's just sit and talk and make it pan India, whatever we can do. Okay. So thank you so
Just
much,
one
sir. I'll also be leaving now.
Yeah.
So-
Just 1 minute. Let me officially thank you. It's very important. And
You thank me enough.
and with this, I would like to thank all the participants, my guest speaker, Mr. Sanjeev Rohilla ji, CEO, NAF Foundation. And I also would like to thank Honorable Chancellor, His Excellency Secretary General Ardo, and Honorable Vice Chancellor, and the faculty members, and the participants, and especially the students and faculty members from the Jayashankar Telangana Agriculture University Extension Education Institute who are participating, viewing this program. And let us work together. The idea is that the takeaway is that let us leverage the power of convergence through connecting the dots, agri startups, agripreneurs, and rural innovators. Let us have a collaborative, institutional collaboration between Shobhit Institute of Engineering and Technology and NAB Foundation. With this, I close the webinar and leave the studio. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.